and welcome to KitbashCarnage Live, Part 2. So we've already kind of done a live today, but somebody got into the comments and started to make rude comments, so I had to end the live, and since then I've had to obviously delete the live because yeah, I just had to sort stuff out with the moderation and stuff like that. So in that live, you didn't really miss much apart from someone just, I don't know, some sad person. But what we ended up doing is creating these. Hold on, I'll get a bit of light, a bit better. So we created these molds. So these are basically green stuff casts off of a or not a green stuff roller, a roller. So I have a bunch of these rollers here. If I can find the actual roller I have, yeah, I have it here. Right now, let's get all this stuff out of the way. So we used a skull roller to get this texture on some green stuff, and the reason we've put it on to this piece of plastic is in order to cut this out and end up making a type of like, I don't know, a type of armor of some sort. So as you can see, we can kind of bend it and manipulate it in order to get this into the right kind of, I don't know, shape we want it. And then we've done it here again, so you can see some of the skulls there. So we're basically trying to do this in order to get nice texture on pieces of plastic in order to make a custom vash store that we are going to do later down the line. So I have a bunch of bits in here, so servo skulls and stuff like that. There's a cool servo skull from Ramshackle Games. And then there's a few more bits and bobs here from other projects. So we're going to make a custom vash store at some point, way overdue. So hence the reason why I need some of these nice armor plates that we're going to make. So in order to make these armor plates, we are going to use a little bit of milliput and some green stuff. And if you put some milliput and green stuff together, it's like a combination hybrid type of the both, and it ends up making, I don't know what you would call it. What does milliput turns out a bit yellow looking, and then green stuff turns out very, sorry for the noise everyone of me rattling these open. So green stuff turns out to be, well, green, and milliput turns out to be a little bit yellowish when it's kind of all come together. So you can call it green-a-mellow. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, by using the milliput and the green stuff together, this not only increases the amount of material we're using, so we don't have to use lots of material and then waste our material, but we get the best of both. So green stuff is more for details, milliput is more for sculpting and stuff like that, like a base material. So you're getting the best of both worlds here by using the two materials. And obviously we have in green stuff, you end up getting this join in the middle, and with that join right there in the middle, it goes a bit hard, so you want to take that out. So by removing some of the milliput in the middle there, or the green stuff band in the middle, you're going to prevent yourself from getting these kind of hard bits in any of the details that you're trying to do. So we just remove that. I like to do this technique with my green stuff. I kind of twist it. It really helps it come together much faster. A lot of people just smush it, but if you twist it on itself, you can see the green stuff tends to just, come together quite well. And then a few turns, flick of the wrist, or whatever the youngsters say nowadays. And then we have our green stuff. And then you get your milliput. Now, by all means, I have gloves somewhere, right over here. I'm not going to use them because effort. But yeah, use gloves. Don't, not use PPE and stuff like that if you have it. This stuff can be toxic to skin, and it's kind of a little bit of I don't know, I'm not going to use the word here, but you know, it's a pain really to get off your hands and stuff and clothes. But when used correctly, you know, it's not that bad. Just as I said, make sure you don't have any allergic reactions or anything like that to it, because that's what you don't want. So mixing your milliput and your green stuff together, you get yourself a new combination. Uh, Hello, Antec. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly or anything like that. Just tell me. But welcome to the channel. Here on KitbashCarnage, we tried the Kitbash stuff, and there's always a bit of carnage along the way. Hence the reason it's called KitbashCarnage. Uh, yeah, it's one of them things. There's always carnage and some type of craziness that happens throughout these hobby adventures we go down, but we're not about hiding them. It's your flaws are what make you perfect, isn't that what they say? So after combining our green stuff and our milliput together, hello Connor, hope you're well. We end up getting this terrible camera, by the way. Apologies, I'm using my phone. So if you use your milliput green stuff combination, I'll get a new piece of plastic card. And then for anyone who's just joined, we're trying to make some armor panels for our custom Vash store that we're going to be doing. So we're just putting them on some plastic card in order to later on cut them out into plastic panels or armor panels, and then manipulate them like this to fit around our miniature. So we're getting some plastic card. This is some old scrap pieces of filament prints. So I tend to keep my bag of scraps like this lying around. And I just use bits like this because what's the point? You're going to throw all this into a recycling bin and there it's gone. And then you're going to go ahead and buy material online and then throw the scraps in the bin and then go ahead and buy more material again and again and again. So it's one of them things you don't really want to be doing, because not only are you making yourself more cost down the line, but you're just adding towards the landfills. And I'm not saying I'm some type of tree hugger person who loves the forest and all this, and but I really don't want to just be adding to the landfill for no apparent reason. Right, so now that we have our milliput green stuff mixture on the base of plastic and a little piece of milliput there, try to make it a little bit thick because we need to indentate these skulls onto the actual piece of milliput. We would then get our roller. Well, one step, actually this is a major step that I always forget, so let's not forget this. It's always good to put a bit of Vaseline or something. I have this like Vaseline stuff lying around, and I always just get a little tiny bit, like a smidgen, and you put this just on the top, and this will prevent the actual roller from sticking to the milliput, because I will show you here, we didn't do that, and we have ruined a really good skull roller that a friend of mine, the Bits Basher on Instagram, ended up giving me, and we're gonna have to fix this by getting all this stuff out. But until then, we will remember to use our barrier of kind of Vaseline or something, and then we will pick a nice spot on our roller, so about here, place it down and then give it a nice firm push and just roll, and there you go. If I can get focus. So as you can see, we've now got some nice indentations of skulls there, and these will go, as I said, on, we'll cut this out into some type of a shape. So I don't know, like a triangle or diamonds. As you can see here, we can cut them into diamonds, and then that skull would be like in the middle of the diamond, if that makes sense. I don't know if you can't really see that. So yeah, it'd be something like that. Apologies if I'm out of focus here a lot, people. As I said, I'm using my phone, and for once it only says in this mode. Every time I try and flip it, it goes back to this mode. So yeah, but as you can see, the skulls are indentated there in our milliput green stuff mixture. We'll move on then to another piece of plastic. So like I said, scrap pieces of filament kind of plastic here. quickly put our green stuff milliput mixture down. What I'm going to do actually is break this up onto 2 sections and then just firmly push it down, making sure we've give it enough thickness in order to create the skulls and enough definition, and then we will coat that with our little barrier of Vaseline just so it doesn't stick to our roller, because as we remember, we have already destroyed one and we don't want to destroy another. So we move these out of the way, and then can't really choose where we're going to do this one, but we'll try to find a nice spot and then just with firm pressure roll that over. And as you can see, we have got some nice skull indentations, and you can use these on bases, or you can use them on like what we're going to use them on our armor panels and stuff like that. I've also done some nice casts, so if I can find them, wherever they are. So I've also done loads of casts. So recently I've been doing some casts of some sandbags. So I have a few sandbags that I've done here, and these are going to go towards the Trench Crusade tabletop kind of board that I'm making. So we'll paint these and we'll just stack them all kind of along the sides of the trench, and they're just made out of this mold that I've done. It's a terrible focus. I really do apologize about the focus on the camera and everything, but they're just made out of this mold to make them, and I've just been collecting them. I've got other types of ones here. So I've made some also with some scrap pieces of milliput. So these are just scrap pieces of milliput, and I've just pinched the edges, and they're going to be like, you know, sandbags as well. We also have these ones here that just sit in the ground. So yeah, all of them. I like to kind of make all this type of stuff myself. You can buy obviously sandbags. I think I have a bag of sandbags somewhere. I don't want to really go rooting for a bag of sandbags, but you can buy all this stuff, but why buy it? Like, why go and buy lots of individual sandbags? I know I'm paying for the milliput, but I'm also using it for other projects and stuff. So it's like multi-project use, if that makes sense. So while we're waiting for the milliput and everything to dry on this, we'll move on to our Vashtor, and I'll show you. Actually, hold on 1 second. I want to just interject here and show everybody a project that we're going to be doing. This is going to be a custom Abaddon the Despoiler. So, as you can see, we've got a big kind of bulky body here. Now, I do have a kind of offshoot Abaddon here. He's obviously got a broken sword, and his claws broken, and the top bit has broken. I have all them bits, but what I was planning on doing is taking the head off this guy and the claw, kitbashing this into something else, like some type of Terminator Lord, and then I will make this into our Vashtor, because I just prefer the look of this guy, to be honest. A bit more bulky, a bit more kind of lordish, if that makes sense, like more of a champion and like a leader, compared to this Vashtor, Abaddon, because he's very I don't know, he's like minuscule compared to this guy. So yeah, we're going to eventually turn this into Abaddon, and then I also got a few Terminators that we need to customize. So we need to customize a few of these guys, take off their guns and stuff, or add on to their guns. What I've been doing recently is using green stuff to add on and then put my own details into things. Anything like these, which are like molded onto the base itself, I like to kind of do stuff with green stuff and add on to it, because cutting through these will probably chip the whole arm off or something like that. I've also been doing some crazy stuff like this. So this is a weird hand. Not this. This is a weird hand too. But this is a weird hand that I made. I basically got a bunch of these weird little FDM printed hands in and thought about an idea of an army that is made of just hands. So this is kind of like a weird tail whip hand at the moment. As you can see, it's kind of breaking a little bit off there, but it's just a basic concept idea. A whole hand army just kind of crawling towards it, like the thing, in that, the Addams family or something like that. Can you imagine a bunch of just hands with random tentacles coming out of it, just crawling towards it? Then I've also been creating some spikes, for kind of army purposes. Well, not army purposes, but these would be spikes used in like war, and they're going to be used for the Trench Crusade tabletop board that I'm doing, coffee table board. So we're going to paint all them up, and then they'll just be like terrain that we can use, and we can just pop them anywhere. I don't know if anyone has seen, but I have the remnants here of a video that went rogue. So this is, go back and watch, if you haven't already, how not to strip minis. So this is when we tried to strip some minis, and as you can see, it didn't go quite well. The green stuff just collapsed, and yeah, everything decided to, look at him. Everything decided to just, I don't know, fall apart really, and turn into slush. But it's our own fault, and this is it's a learning experience. But you'll reuse all these at some point. We'll get, I don't know, these can be battle worn guys, just crack a bit off, like, you know what I mean? There, he's dead, so put him down there and just say he died of natural causes. But on some type of diorama or something, we use all these bits. I don't really throw away too much stuff. I have another little thing here with a bunch of guys on spikes. These are actually really cool. So hold on. Terrible. I'm very sorry about the camera, but these are quite cool. These little dudes, they're all impaled through spikes. And I have a bunch of these that we're going to use on the Trench Crusade board. And we'll dot these guys around, and they'll all be kind of dotted around. Hello, Black Country Apex nerd. Hope things are well. Welcome to KitbashCarnage. But yeah, we're going to dot these around, and I think they look quite cool. Also, what you can do with these guys is you can stick them on. So remember I was telling you about this Vashdor, or not Vashdor, this custom Abaddon we're going to be doing. God, the focus. So if we get this guy, just an example, you could like stick these guys sticking out of the side of him. So can you imagine someone who's impaled sticking out like from the back of these guys, I have a bunch of them here so he can lie down. Obviously he won't be like, well, you never know. I don't know. Could you imagine this guy on the back here impaled? Actually looks quite cool. See, stuff like this just gives me ideas, guys. It's not bad. Some little dude impaled on the back there, but it'd be a little bit freaky, to be honest. You don't want your head in between his legs. Right, we're getting off track here. So back on track, the custom Vashdor, the custom Vashdor we're going to be doing. This is going to be part of his backpack, or his back kind of. He's going to be more like a demon. He is a demon, but because Vashdor is in a lot of the tonight. Hello, Aaron. I hope you're well, buddy. Tonight it's just a bit of random stuff. I literally have just done some armor panels, and these are for another project. So I've basically just done some indentations here, some texture with some textured rollers that I have. And we're going to let this dry and then cut this out for armor panels, as you can kind of flex them, and we'll bend them around kind of miniatures and stuff like that. So it's preparing for the future. And then at the moment, just having a look at our custom Vashdor project. That's what has been set aside for a long time. So these are all the bits that we have. So many bits. So as I said, this is going to be for the back. And then Vashdor himself is kind of skinny. So I was thinking about, when I mean skinny, he looks like the Slenderman in a way. If anyone knows or has seen or heard of the Slenderman, it's the Slenderman with skeleton wings, basically the Slenderman crossbreeded with the Reaper, like the Reaper of Death, crossbreeded with some type of machine. That's the easiest way to explain it. So we have our hands and stuff here, so I don't know how I'm going to portray this in a way to people who don't understand, but or have never seen Vashtor, but picture this being his body. You have the arms coming out, and then this is going to be on the back, if that makes sense. But Vashtor is going to be this big, and then he's going to have huge wings that are going to come out. So I always have a pen and paper at hand, because when I think about these ideas, I want to be able to draw them down kind of for myself. So Vashtor is going to be kind of, well, we draw the backpack here, wherever it's gone. So the backpack's going to be like this. And we have that. We have Vashtor's little head here. And then his wings are going to be coming out like that. If this makes any sense, hopefully it will in a second. And then his body, an arm will come out like this. Another arm hopefully holding like some type of a staff of some sort. His slender body be like that, and then he has these weird kind of legs, like chicken legs. And then obviously he has a six-pack, because what demon doesn't have a six-pack, you know? And there's his wings. But that's kind of what I'm going for. I don't know if any of that makes sense. And this is reference to this. So that's kind of what it's going to look like. Something kind of like that, you know. This is, the whole channel's kind of like, so we just go with the flow. Using these heads, I want to mix some of these up and create more along the lines of a robotic kind of skull, if that makes sense. So I've got a few of these skull bits as well. So we could plaster these on. Has anyone ever seen like Phantom of the Opera or something like that? So my idea is cut half of this, and you can like plant it over there, like it's like its own little mask, if that makes sense. And then obviously using all the other bits to create his staff, and then his chest and all that, in order to bulk him out that little bit more. But yeah, that's one of the ideas that is going to happen. We will have all of these ideas on other live streams. I need to figure out more of my moderation and stuff like that. I really appreciate the people who came back to this live stream from the first live stream. We did have a live stream previous to this, but I had to delete it because of previously stated someone came in and started to type in rude comments, and we don't stand for that. We just don't like that. And I wasn't too tech savvy at the moment to figure out how to delete the comment or anything like that, so I deleted the video. But this is the second one. We now have some moderators. I appreciate anyone who came from that video onto this one to watch the rest of the stuff. I appreciate new viewers who have came in. Subscribe to KitbashCarnage. We come up with crazy stuff here. We take a lot of suggestions from our subscribers. Give us a few ideas, and stay tuned for Monday for the next video, because the next video is going to do it's going to be basically introducing a fellow YouTuber, a friend of mine, who donated some sprues that were. Oh, hello. There's the man, one of them, the man himself. How are you, buddy? Apologies. I was actually just about to get off, unfortunately. But yeah, I will be back. Like I said, we'll do another live stream tomorrow, and then there will be a video on Monday. And like I said, we got a donation off one of our fellow YouTubers, and we'll put together that. We'll kitbash a few bits and bobs out of that, along with maybe doing a few more bits from our custom Vash store tomorrow. These will all be dried up, hopefully. So we'll be able to cut these out and use these for armor plating. And then, yeah, we'll talk a bit more about our crazy hand army that we're going to be doing. Thank you again, everyone, for staying tuned. Thanks for all the support. I know, buddy. I'll do another live stream tomorrow. I was on already, and I have someone make crazy comments in the comment, or crazy comments on the comments. Ugh, I can't even speak half the time, and I had to get it all sorted. And yeah, but we're back into it. I'll be back live tomorrow. I'll have a video posted Monday. I'll stop rambling as well because I'm probably chatting the ears off everybody at this stage. And yeah. Subscribe, everyone. Ring the notification bell if you really want to see the next live tomorrow, because, well, and here we go. Here's someone else. Goodbye. See, this is, I need more, I need more moderators. I'm going to sort out more moderator stuff. Laz, you're the man. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Right, everyone. I'll catch you all later, okay? I'm gonna figure out some more moderators, so then hopefully tomorrow's stream goes a bit better than this stream. Do you know, I didn't really have this issue a while ago. I did more lives, had less subscribers, and I don't know. I just see it as a good thing. If people take time out of their day to come here and spread hate, it tells me that, I don't know, for some reason I must be that popular for them to come here, take time out of their day, because time's precious, everybody. And don't you forget that. Keep up the progress, keep up the love, and keep up the amazing work. See you in the next one.